topic is how do we embrace the cold? And actually, so we haven't really had to this winter, so I'm going to say we're the ones that are bringing in the cold snap this weekend, so you're welcome by having this tonight. If you guys need to go out and get a beer, there is a door in the back, so feel free to go in the back door and then, oh, there's a cash bar right here too, so, but bathrooms are in there, so that's housekeeping. So it came about from looking at places like Iceland, Scandinavia, Norway, Finland. All these places really use the fact that they are cold to their advantage. I feel like the cold weather in Duluth is either you really love winter, either you really hate it. There's not a lot of in between, and anything that has that kind of passion behind it deserves some looking at. So that's how we sort of came up with our topic this evening. And our presenters sort of represent the mind, body, soul of how you embrace the cold. Kim was sort of our mind one, so she's out, so it's body and soul. So Greg is the founder and leader of Lal Furniture, which is amazing outdoor furniture and can withstand the cold in really amazing ways, and he'll talk about that. So that's like the body, the physical. And then Laura is, woohoo! He won't take his shirt off, don't worry. Or maybe with enough beer. And then Laura is the founder and lady in charge of Bent Paddle. And when we think of, how we embrace the cold, that sort of is the soul part. You're warm from within, I think. But in Scandinavian countries, there's also this idea of, is there anyone who speaks Norwegian here or Danish? Okay, can anyone pronounce this word correctly? Huga? Higa? Hige? Huga? Huga. Can you tell me what huga means? Cozy, wonderful, all these things. It's like wrapped in a blanket next to a fire with your sweetheart and a cup of tea, reading, Shakespeare sonnets to each other, right? This is the idea that I think it's huga, or in Denmark Norway it's kostelig. Okay. That's the way it's pronounced. But the idea that through embracing the cold, providing sort of this warmth, it's like seeing a picture of a bonfire and all your friends next to the bonfire. That's what huga is. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later as well. But I think that's enough of me talking. I'm going to hand it over to Laura, who's going to talk about Bent Paddle.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. My name is Laura Mullen. I'm one of the 4 co-founders of Bent Paddle. Just going to do a quick overview of Bent Paddle in general, and then more or less answer the question of how we embrace the cold. So Bent Paddle is the brainchild of 2 married couples, myself and my husband Colin Mullen, and Brian and Karen Tonis. We're each 25% owners. We've been here for almost 3 years. We started thinking about Bent Paddle in 2010, and we opened our doors in May of 2013. We have a 30-barrel production brew house and have gone through 4 major equipment expansions since beginning, which means we're about 3, but we're kind of well past year 10 of our business plan. So Duluth has embraced us completely, and the rest of Minnesota as well. We're distributed throughout Minnesota. Bent Paddle brews ales and lagers with the pristine water of Lake Superior, which is a blank slate for brewing water. It's amazing soft water. It is perfect for brewing a nice, crisp, cold Pilsner, which is one of our flagships. Lagers are kind of rare in the craft beer industry, so the Venture Pils is a big deal to us because of the water here. He's holding it up. And I'll just quickly point out that this is the Lowell-based tap handle, so we do a lot of collaborations, not only on panels, but all sorts of things. So that's a little bit about Bent Paddle. I'm sure we'll get into it with the rest of the questions tonight. But how we embrace the cold, Kuga. So beers are frequently seasonal. You don't want to be drinking everyone's different and they love the beer of choice, but in general, the sales spike for the black ale or the cold pressed black, a nice dark fireside beer in the winter. We also have Harness IPA, which is a very intense rye IPA, which is also delicious in the winter. So seasonality is a common theme with breweries, but that is one way that all breweries embrace the seasons, and we in particular up here in the Northland do the black ale, the cold pressed black, and the Harness for the winter season. So that's the first part of how we embrace the cold. I guess in terms of design in general, you can see some of our pictures here, but design is incredibly, no, they're going automatic, yep. Design is incredibly important to us at Bent Paddle. Cohesive design, making sure that it's just cool because it's, I don't know, it's your design, it's important to you. But it allows people, consumers, to always know our product. We have an industrial, stainless steel kind of industrial vibe meets the North Woods, especially in our tap room. That's the vibe that's going in there. So design was always incredibly important to us. You always, hopefully, when you see a poster or you see a tap handle or you see a can of Bent Paddles, you know it was Bent Paddles design because of the cohesiveness and the outdoorsy Duluth, North Shore, cozy feel that it brings. So design has always been a big deal to us as well.
Great.
That's about it. Greg's turn.
All right, we're going to pass it over to Greg, but I'm going to do a little adjustment here.
Hi. I would like to recommend we all embrace cougars tonight as well. Okay, sorry, that wasn't funny. So my name's Greg Benson. I'm one of the founders of Law Designs, and we are based in West Duluth, just about, 5 miles from here. We employ about 44 people, and this is our 9th year business, although we have 3 businesses, so it's really our 20th year, but our 9th year is Law Designs. And so I have to read this a little bit. This is me, and I tried to, what you're going to see here I made over the last hour and a half. I'd like everyone to turn their phones off too, the ring, because mine's ringing right now. So, winter. It's very romantic, eh? Why do we love the cold so much? I had to think about this myself. And of course, the blue gnome knows why winter is important. Of course, he says that first you have to furiously contemplate the fire. And I'm sure, has anyone done that? Sat in front of a fire in the winter? Yeah?
Once or twice.
Okay. I'll do that too. So what we do is we like to design a rack for our snowboards. That's really important part of enjoying winter. And then it's really important that you get on your snowboard and you shred the gnar. I'd like to also say all these photos were taken on an iPhone 6. My iPhone 6. And then what you do is you keep prototyping. And here we are. This was just yesterday, and we're designing a little bar cart for a deck. For those of you that don't know, we primarily make outdoor furniture, which is sort of interesting that, living in this climate, embracing Koga, to be working on outdoor furniture. But another thing you do is you want to wake up multiple times a day, and there's a couple ways of doing that. One of them is to have an espresso machine in your office. And you need to wish that you always had Bent Paddle instead of the backup in the fridge, and cover that up. This is me last week sitting in my Lutzen gondola. Did anyone else get a gondola from Lutzen? Did you? All right, awesome. Sometimes you need to pretend you're sitting in that special place in the winter. And you need to picture chairs marching towards summer, because they do that when you're not watching them at night. You need to become an expert of outdoor cushions, and especially in the winter. And then you like to use fabrics called sombrella because they sound summery. And then you keep prototyping and prototyping, and you like to design more shit for summer. I actually asked my office today if I could use that word today, and it's probably not appropriate. You like to help Spirit Mountain make jibs with your plastic that you make outdoor furniture out of, which is fun. And you sit around and you wait for the water to start flowing again because it's not moving. Yes? A jib are these things that people jump on with their skis and their snowboards. And you ride on them. They're just kind of a... And then what you do in your office is you hang these big pictures of flowers. Sunflowers usually is what you like to do. And you always got to keep the power on. Because, in the winter, it's so dark all the time, so you need a lot of power. We like to think about a new color, like yellow. It's kind of sunny, that'd be nice. Let's bring some more yellow into the mix. And you march your machines into the sun. Does anyone know the Flaming Lips, that song? It's a great song. And then the really fun thing is to catch some air with your friend. Snowmobiling. I told you that one wouldn't go over, Nate. And then you have to love the state that you're in. You always got to love it. And I think we all do. That's why we're here. You do some sketching, which is short for sketching. You do more sketching, but you make a chair that looks like a North Star, because you should. I mean, that's just what you do. And then you find a nice cold place to freeze your butt, which is that's on the Spirit Hiking Trail. And people think that they'd like to be here in Hawaii in that chair. I actually didn't take that yesterday. But you know that this is the best place to be right here with your bent. There's my bent paddle. So that's all I got.
So I'm going to actually put bent paddle back up because it just provides us some background fun. And this one will just go automatically. That way we'll have. Cool. So I'm actually want to start with Greg, and so you have the yellow up there, and when I think of winter and how sort of we embrace it and either get through it or celebrate it, I think of having to have color around your house, have color, and certainly in your furniture. So can you talk a little bit about the color choices and how you choose on those specific ones?
We like rainbows. And we have 10 colors, and actually yellow would be our 11th color. We've been trying to drop one of our colors. It's a sand beige color, but we haven't been able to do that. But we've really tried to pick vibrant colors, and Laura happens to have an assortment of some of our colors right here. But I think we looked around at a lot of outdoor furniture, and you saw bronze, browns, the tan colors, and we just thought we wanted to brighten things up a little bit, so we really were drawn towards more vibrant colors. This green, in fact, we did a show in San Francisco, and the Discovery Channel was handing out a bag that said Discovery Channel on it, and it was this green, and we just thought it was so cool, and everyone was walking around the show, and so we matched that bag color. I'd like to say I invented this color, but it was the Discovery Channel, actually. And now it's Ben Hop green.
Is there one color that you find sells or is more common?
Yeah, charcoal is our best-selling color. About 25% of what we sell is this color, the charcoal. But it's not, we could almost just put the color wheel on the wall and throw darts. It's not quite that scientific, but we just are drawn to bright colors, and our customers, that's what they always say to us, is we love your colors, so we think and yellow is the next one we're going to add.
And then Laura, if you want to talk a little bit about, I think the outdoors, and we've touched on a little bit of this in the last 2 sessions, but can you talk a little bit about, you certainly, Lake Superior, there's the connection there, but, and with the name Bent Paddle, embracing the outdoors and sort of embracing the outdoors in all the seasons is certainly important to Bent Paddle. So can you talk, is that something that was, you guys as couples were like, we love the outdoors, we want to blend that?
So I'm born and raised Duluth, and this is my heart and my home. But my husband and my business partners, we all met in the Twin Cities, and it would have been logical also to start a brewery down in the Twin Cities. But we all came to the conclusion that we love Duluth. My business partners, Ryan and Karen, they met at UMD. They frequent the Boundary Waters. Colin and I love the Brule River in northwestern Wisconsin. And so the outdoors aspect up here, in addition to the great brewing water of Lake Superior, was why we ended up picking Duluth to start Bent Paddle. So, and it became apparent that we wanted that in the marketing as well because it was authentic to us. Boundary Waters trips every year, canoeing, outdoor sports, paddling, all that sort of thing really resonated with us for a brand.
So this is going to be a little bit of a longer one, and is Mike Schultz still here? Hello, Mike. So Mike and I were talking earlier today, and I was asking him what to ask you guys, and we were talking about, the Huga and what is the Kolga? How do you pronounce Kolga? And how there's this sort of acceptance of winter and like a celebration of it in the Scandinavian countries or Iceland or that latitude, and that for some reason this kind of weather is abhorrent to everybody just because it's cold, but a lot of people here love it, right? And we're saying, and actually, Mike, am I totally butchering this? The fact that Americans sort of think of themselves as more like, the middle latitude, so they think of themselves like Missouri is sort of like the go-to, so anything sort of outside of that realm is crazy. So like, I mean, the whole idea for this was like sort of, the idea for this series is staking our claim as North and really putting a label on that. Minnesota has sort of started to say, we're North, so Duluth, we want to sort of say, well, Duluth should be the capital of the North if we're going to be that. So I feel like this whole thing is sort of trying to get at, just accepting it and sort of, and celebrating it. And we were asking, why isn't there outdoor restaurants in the winter? And it should be, in Iceland there's the heaters outside, and in days like these that we've had 30 degrees, why couldn't people be outside and use your furniture for outdoor furniture? So this isn't really a question, but I don't know if you guys want to respond.
I think that's a great challenge to the people of Duluth to open an outdoor restaurant. I would totally frequent that. I was recently in Hawaii for 10 days for the holidays, and I was kind of like, when I got off the plane in Minneapolis and it was cold, I was like, ooh, good. And I have no idea, it's just part of, I love living here. If I didn't like this weather and I didn't like the seasons, I love seasonality and the change of seasons that we experience, I wouldn't live here. So, I don't know, someone open an outdoor restaurant, sounds great.
I'm not going to do that, but our chairs really are, they just get cold. Plastic gets cold, and you need a blanket or something and a fire if you're going to use it in the winter. It's funny, people like to send us pictures of our furniture covered in snow, or their furniture now covered in snow. But, everybody here, I'm sure, travels, or you meet people that don't know Minnesota, and the first thing out of their mouth is, oh, it's cold there. And they think it must be so bad. And I don't, I'm not going to set out and try to convince everyone that it's great. But we all know here that it's not bad, and it's not cold all the time. But I can't imagine, personally, and I have the places where it isn't, and I miss it too, just like Laura, getting off the plane. And it really is a nice place to enjoy the cold.
So one of the things that I think that is celebratory about the cold is that we have two really special birds in town right now. Has anyone seen the special Arctic gull, Gull? Okay, yeah. So that's that should be plastered everywhere. People from Ohio and Florida are coming up specifically to see this bird on Canal Park. So everyone should go see it. Are there questions for Greg? Yeah, or Laura?
Frank, your material you use to make your products, could you talk about if it's a recycled material? Could you talk about
So the question is the material that Greg uses to make the furniture.
Yeah, we use, I'll stand up. It almost sounds, I've been talking about this for 9 years, so it sounds kind of cliche to me now, but it's high density polyethylene, or HDPE, number 2 plastic, and it comes from milk jugs. And we don't make the material, we design and manufacture the furniture, but the material comes from a company in Pennsylvania, and they basically buy pellets, or the milk jugs have been collected, ground down, turned into a little pellet, looks like a little lentil, and then it's extruded as a sheet. It's sort of like making taffy or Play-Doh or something. Those machines where you put the Play-Doh in and it comes out the little mold or the dye, and you can get different shapes. So they extruded in a 4x8 sheet in different thicknesses. This is 1 inch thick. So we buy this in a 4x8 sheet, but it's 100% recycled material. Right now, with the prices of oil, and not just right now, but for a while, we could buy virgin plastic for considerably less, and we just won't do that. We don't want to do that. Our whole purpose with Lol is to reclaim plastic and reuse it. So we're not going to change that, even though it would reduce the cost of our product. But it's a really interesting material. It's really is durable. It holds up outside well. It doesn't fade or crack. And we're kind of a one-trick pony with our material. We just try to make everything out of this plastic. And it's not something you can buy at Home Depot. That's a plug for Home Depot. Or Menards. But so we buy it by the truckload, and that's really the only way to even purchase it affordably is to buy large quantities of it. Is there?
I've seen some around town. Is that your plastic dispensing, like by the Montessori school? Or no?
Yeah, the Montessori school, the Many Rivers. Yeah, that's the same. Our stuff.
Planning to do that as a product line?
No, probably not. That was just a side project. Yeah, and that's one of the owners of Law, whose wife was involved in the startup of that Montessori school. The unglamorous part of this material is it's used primarily as bathroom partitions. So, like Spirit Mountain has in the new chalet, the bathroom partitions are the same material. I hate to tell you guys that. And also, it's also used in a lot of playgrounds, in the boating industry, in interiors of boats. Usually it's white, in that situation. But it's just a really great material that you don't have to do much with it. There's no maintenance. And so. It works great for tap handles.
Can you guys talk a little bit about collaboration? Because one of the things that we noticed when we were setting up speakers for this is we were sort of looking at people who were doing interesting design in the community, and it was like, oh, that person's worked with this person's worked. Like, it just, everything is sort of like cycling through. Like, we had David Salmoa, the first one, who has worked with you on furniture. So can the two of you talk about working together and, sort of maybe the benefits of being in a small town, of having that kind of lines of communication?
Sure, that's awesome. Question, whenever, I think Greg even has said this to me, but whenever we source something and there's this new type of business that is into local sourcing and whatnot, so we try to start first within our neighborhood. This is your spiel. So this is Greg's. I'm giving him full credit, but I'm saying it. First you start in your neighborhood, then your town, then your region, then your state, then your, Midwest or whatnot, and then nationwide, and then international. So you really try to start at the base level, and we wanted that from day one at Vent Paddle. It's pretty rare to not have a Chinese-made tap handle, and the fact that this one is actually 100% Minnesota-made. Lowell helped us. We knew we wanted to use Lowell material or Epicurean, their brother company, sister company. But then they helped us find the Eurocal sticker made in Eden Prairie. So we try to do that as much as possible. John Otis is here from Duluth Barrel Works. All the barrels are sourced by him. The cold pressed black ale is with Duluth Coffee Company. We have Frost River everything in our merch department. So anything that we can do to work together. Chris from Frost River, are you here?
I saw
People from Frost River are here. He was the first person we met in this neighborhood. And we make all these really unique products for beer. There's a cancellator, so it's like a koozie for beer, but it's made with really cool Frost River materials, growler packs, etc. And we just walk across the street and conceptualize new ideas as opposed to, I don't know, sending things back and forth via email across the country.
Yeah, this is a great example. We thought we should have a hat, and this is just, it's a lollygagger hat, and then you can't read it from here. But this hat was made in Cloquet. And we could easily go, and it wasn't expensive, it was only $150, but we could probably go and find it, online, made somewhere. And just like Laura said, these tap handles, there's a website that's taphandles.com. And they're designed in the U.S. But all of them, and you should go to taphandles.com. It's really interesting. There's so many, and a lot of breweries. That's where they get their taps, and they're all made in China. And yeah, it's easy, and I don't know that it's necessarily less money, but it has really been important for Lowell, for us to we really sincerely try to source things locally. The plastic. We go to Pennsylvania because we just can't buy it here in Minnesota. But we have other things, many things, little parts that we have made over by Brainerd. We buy some other parts from a company in Monticello. Black Duck, Black Duck, Minnesota. Has anyone been through Black Duck? So the cushions that were in the slide, that is something that we're really working on. We don't have a line of cushions. Well, we sort of do, but we don't have thick cushions. And we found a company called Anderson Fabrics, and they employ 350 people. Actually, it's an employee-owned company in Black Duck, Minnesota, and we're like, wow, this is awesome. We get to work with a local North Minnesota company to make our cushions. And so we really always try there as hard as we can. Even our boxes that we use, there's a company called Green Bay Packaging that we try to buy boxes from because they're more local. And it just kind of seems like we don't sell a lot of furniture in Duluth. Our market is outside of Duluth and Minnesota for that matter. So we're trying to bring, it's not that we're trying, but really what we're doing is we're bringing money into the state and Duluth, and we're spending it here, but then we're trying to also spend that money and find vendors local. And it's not easy all the time, and it's not about price. Now, if you look at our furniture, it's not inexpensive either, but I don't know, it really starts with the cost of the material, and I don't know that we'd reduce the cost of our furniture that much if we're just out there looking for price. But it's really, for us, that's not the main priority.
Can you actually tell us the
Quality,
story
yeah.
of you have a great story about rivets that you use in your furniture and how you were trying to source those locally?
I can't tell that story, Danny. No, there was there's one of the parts that we use. It's a brass insert, and there was a company that was trying to get that business from us, and they were going to have the brass inserts made overseas, and they came at us with price. And the brass inserts we buy, we worked really closely with this company to actually design an insert that works with our furniture. And I called the company up to just talk about price, basically. And before I could even say anything, he said, hey, I have great news. We bought a new machine, and we're going to get you a lower price. And it was really, I was going to call him and say, hey, Ken, you know, I'm being kind of courted here by this other company, and I wasn't really intending to leave them. But then he came back and said, yeah, he just offered a better price without me even saying anything. And this is a brass insert that we buy $100,000 of every year. So it was a big deal for us and a big deal for him. And you know, even a nickel more over time, it really adds up with something like that.
Other questions from the audience? There's one in the back here. Or, yep, you sir.
I'm
Yep.
in the back.
You're the middle. Yeah.
In your product design, a lot of it has to be on purpose. I mean, you're going to build an IPA, or you're going to build a chair to sit around a fireplace. But how much fun have you had, and how much of your sales have been accidental? Just kind of stumbling into something that worked.
Can you guys repeat your question?
So the question was, how much of it has sort of been accidental? I mean, so much in business is planning and being strategic, and certainly, you know, your businesses from the outside look really fun, but how much is sort of serendipitous? I mean, you talked about the green being the green from this bag, but are there other examples of serendipity?
The cold pressed black is a good example for that. Our black ale is the beer that we brew, and then we infuse it with cold pressed black. So this is actually, it's not a special beer that's made to be cold pressed black. And we just did kind of a one-off in the tap room early on, because when we first opened, we only had the bent hop and the black ale. And we were like, oh, the tap room's really boring with 2 beers for the next 4 months. So we decided to do strange things and try to like infuse things and do whatnot. So we had learned about Duluth coffee, which was also new at the same time, and made this more or less one-off for the tap room that went crazy. And now this is a year-round, sold throughout the state beer. So that was one that was just like, let's just do something more interesting for the tap room. And now it's like a pretty huge seller. So things like that happen. I think another good example is we have a blonde ale in the spring, seasonality of beer again. And we partnered originally with Vikra Distillery. We make their mash and they distill everything, and that's how they get their product. They are doing their own brew house soon, which is awesome. That was part of their original plan. But we did, with the blonde ale, we did just a random infusion called Botanical Blonde, and it was all of the, you know, the juniper and the, thank you, Abigail. Good job, and that was, it's like our most popular cask ever, the Botanical Blonde, I think, and we're bottling it within this year sometime. So just the like experimental side of beer allows us to see what is really popular and what is really tasty. We have lots and lots of these, but some just hit. And we then can package those and sell them.
Well, if you talk to my dad, he'll say that I started as an accident. Thanks. You know, our company, I don't know if people know the history of our company, but we didn't start as Lal making furniture. We started as this other company called True Ride, and we made skateboard ramps. And really, all of it's been an accident. I mean, in so many ways. And making furniture, well, I mean, it wasn't an accident, but in the furniture industry, we say that they left the back door open and we walked in. Because we really didn't understand, you know, I didn't know the skate park industry. People that know that story think I got into it because I was a skateboarder, and that wasn't really right. But the outdoor furniture industry, I didn't know anything about. So we walked in the back door, and then started walking around in the kitchen and like starting to figure things out. And then we all, like, quite often, new products that we design start as something that we're just messing around with, and we discover something. And I think that's my favorite part of our business, is just this discovery of product development. And, you know, like that skate or the snowboard rack, you know, I just came in one day and I sketched out a little thing, even though I didn't invent a snowboard rack, you know, those are there. but I just said to Jeff Talley, who is in our office, who Jeff's job is to take little drawings like that and turn them into something that actually works. And Jeff, so he took it and we made it, and it's really a fun product, and we're not selling it. There's just one right now in my garage. But that's really the fun part, you know, this experimentation and product development, and we really, it's something that we kind of stumble on all the time. And once we refine something and we really like it, then we'll bring it to market.
Other questions? All right.
So I think now we've entered the making you all do something portion of the evening. Before we do that, so we've had a lot of discussion about how these two businesses embrace the cold, but what else in Duluth is like if you think of that word Higa, or can you say your version again?
Koga.
Olga. What in Duluth is like, you know, beer and outdoor furniture can fit that, but what else fits that we think of? What else is cozy or about Duluth? Ideas from the audience? Yeah. So backyard fire pits, the fires on, I guess they're not legal on Park Point, but so that's something. Laura mentioned coffee. We have Duluth Coffee. That to me is a coffee shop that's Huga or Kolga. Vikra whiskey. Ooh, good one. Nice. The Huskies all around you at the end of a long race, the Bear Grease sled dog race. Yeah, that's totally it. Others? This is for the activity, I promise.
Cross-country skiing on all of our beautiful trails.
Cross-country skiing on our gorgeous trails, that moment at the end of the day when the sun is setting and it's just, yeah, that's great.
Chopping wood.
Chopping wood, that's a great one. Yes, what's that? Shoveling, yep. Or maybe having your sweetheart shovel for you.
Yes.
What's that? Saunas, yes, saunas. Snow sculptures.
I think it's just all of those activities together, like forcing you out the door. And then
Yeah.
once you're out the door, you're active, you spend the whole day, and you know at the end of the day, you've got the fire, you've got the beer, you've got the whiskey, you've got your special person, whatever.
Sort of that hard work has a purpose at the end of the day. So that hard work, you're like,
It's earning.
yeah, you know that when you're drinking that cold pressed beer that you've chopped enough wood to
You're getting rosy cheeks and you're
the rosy cheeks, yeah.
pushing the snow under your feet.
That's awesome. So our activity, and I'm gonna make you break up into groups of like 5 or 6. So once you break up into your group of 5 or 6, you can go see Jenna. And I want to say a huge thank you to Jenna and her parents who are here tonight that helped set up all these chairs. So round of applause for them. So they are going to give you all the supplies for the activity. But so Greg showed off his awesome Lollygagger hat, and Laura is showing off her awesome Lollygagger hat. And this whole series sort of started because of that Ascot Finlayson store has these North hats. And so, right? So we're going to have you guys design hats tonight that embody that idea of Higa. So we're making Higa hats tonight.